Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. This is Shoaib Muhammad Nazmul Hussain. I am involved consultancy related works. Uh, I am an legal, income tax, VAT, and company affairs consultant. My firm name is Total Solution. Please call me for your any legal problem for income tax, VAT, company affairs, and court related matters. I and my senior try to be solve your problem and our associate members. Now I read the Act, the Imports and Export Control Act 1950, Act No. 39 of 1950, 9th April 1950, an act to prohibit or control imports and export, whereas it is expedient to prohibit, restrict, and otherwise control imports into and exports from Bangladesh. It is hereby enacted as follow: short titles, extent, and commencement. 1. This act may be called the Import or Imports and Export Control Act 1950. 2. It extends to the whole of Bangladesh. 3. It shall come into force at once. Definition 2. In this act, a chief controller means the officer appointed by the government to perform the duties of chief controller of imports and export under this act. Now I read another reference in respect of this act. Throughout this act, the word governments was substituted for the words central government by Section 2 of the Imports and Export Control Amendment Act 1975, Act No. 22 of 1975. Throughout this act, the word Bangladesh was substituted for the word Pakistan by Section 3 of the Imports and Export Control Amendment Act 1975, Act No. 22 of 1975. The words continue for a limited period. Powers to were omitted by Section 3 of the Imports and Export Control Amendment Act 1975, Act No. 22 of 1975. The words continue for a limit period. Powers to were omitted by Section 3 of the Imports and Export Control Amendment Act 1975, Act No. 22 of 1975. The word and commencement were substituted for the commas and words commencement and duration by Section 4 of the Imports and Export Control Amendment Act 1975, Act No. 22 of 1975. The words at once were substituted for the words and comma uh, immediately, and shall remain in force for a period of 25 years by Section 4 of the Importers and Exporter Control Amendment Act 1975, Act No. 22 of 1975. The control of and the collection of customs means a means an officer appointed as such under Section 3 of Custom Act 1969 and C. Import and export means respectively uh, bringing into and taking out of Bangladesh by sea, land, and air. Power to prohibit or restrict imports and export. 3. The government may, by order published in the official gazette and subject to such condition and exception as may be made by or under the order, prohibit, restrict, and otherwise control the import and export of goods of any satisfy description and regulate generally all practice, including trade practice and procedure connected with the import and export of such goods, and such order may provide for application for license under this act. The evidence to be attached to such application, the grant, use, transfer, sale, or cancellation of such licenses, and the form and manners in which and the periods within which an appeal and application for review or revision may be preferred and disposed of, and the charging of fees in respect of any such matter as may be provided in such order. 2. No goods of a specified description shall be imported and exported except in accordance with the condition of a license to be issued by the chief controller or any other officer authorized in this behalf by the government. 3. All goods to which in any order under subsection 1 applies shall be deemed to be goods of which the import and export has been prohibited or restricted under section 16 of the Custom Act 1969, no, 4 of 1969, and all the provision of that act shall have effect accordingly. For not withstanding anything contained in the aforesaid act, this government may, by order published in the official gazette, prohibit, restrict, or impose condition on the clearance, whether for home consumption or warehousing or shipment abroad of any imported goods or classes of goods. Having a reference, the word and figures, and section 3 was substitute for the word and figures. Section 2 by Section 5 of the Import and Export Control Amendment Act 1975, Act No. 22 of 1975. Continuance of existing orders for all orders made under Section 3 of the Imports and Export Control Act 1947 and in force immediately before the commencement of this act so far as they are not inconsistent within the provision of this act continue in force and shall be deemed to have been made under this act. Prohibition to prohibition to sell and purchase import license. For a no person no person shall sell, purchase, and otherwise deal in any import license other than an import license issued under the export bonus scheme. Explanation in this section export bonus scheme means the scheme introduced by government. Prohibition regarding sales and transfer of goods by industrial consumer. 4B export with another provision permission in writing of another chief controller or any other officer otherwise in this behalf by the government. No person who in his capacity as industrial consumer imports any goods against a license issued to him or where no license as required for the import of such good by an industrial consumer without any license shall sell or otherwise transfer such goods or use the good for a purpose other than the purpose of purposes for which the license was issued or such goods were imported. Penalty 5. If any person contravenes any provision of this act or any under made or deemed to have been made under this act or the rules made and thereunder or makes use of an import or export license otherwise than in accordance with any condition in that behalf imposed under this act he shall and without prejudice to any confiscation or, or penalty to which he may be liable under the provision of the Custom Act 1969, 4 of 1969, as applied by subsection 3 of section 3 of this act be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year or with fine or with both. Cognizance of offences. 6. No court shall take recognize of any offence punishable under Section 5 except upon complaint in writing made. In case of an offence is punishable both under this act or the rules made there under and also whether by confiscation or otherwise under the Customs Act 1969, 4 of 1969 by a controller of customs or by an officer of customs authorized is writing to his behalf by a controller of customs or having to reference section 4A and 4B were inserted by section 4 of the Import and Export Control Amendment Ordinance 1962, Ordinance now 29 of 1962 to the word of Pakistan were omitted by section 6 of the Import and Export Control Amendment Act 1975, Act No. 22 of 1975. Be in the case of any other offences by the chief controller or by an officer authorized by him in writing in this behalf, and no court inferior to that of a magistrate of the first class shall try any such offences. 7. No order made or deemed to have been made under this act shall be called in questions in any court, or no suits, prosecution, or other legal proceeding shall lie against any person for anything in good faith done or intended to be done under this act or any rules made there under or any order made or deemed to have been made thereunder. Savings. Caption names is saving. 8. Second power to make rules. 8. The government may make rules not inconsistent with this act for carrying out the purpose of this act. 9. Repeal it by section 2 and 1 schedule of the repealing and amending ordinance 1965, ordinance No. 5 of 1965. So I think here this legal lesson help to us for your legal activities. For that, I hope you encourage me for continue my this job for you and yours. Thanking you and best regards from me and my TV channel Sonagaji and Tax and Vetpari TV news channels, and invited to you from my consulting firm Total Solution. Please contact with me for your any problems, legals, related courts and income tax and VAT and company affairs matters. Allah Hafiz. Allah bless you. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasul.